Today we're going to talk about the power of not being a bottom feeder. A lot of us love things like lobster and crab and shrimp. And all of these delicacies of the ocean are what we call bottom feeders. Because what they do, they eat their food based on what falls to the bottom, the seabed. They scavenge through the bottom of the seabed, and that's what they eat. And a lot of times we have a tendency of being like bottom feeders when we come to society. We do what everybody else does. We hang around with the same people who like to have fun, and they let their passions overtake what their beliefs are. They let their passions overtake what their dreams are. They literally eat the seeds that they should be sowing in order to get more in life. They go out there and they figure life is just all about living in the moment. They think about life is all about just having fun. And as a result, they stay where they are, walking around, crawling around on the bed of life like a bottom feeder, and never thrive, never become what they're destined to be, never become anything greater than they are, because they have developed a bottom feeder mindset. So today we're going to talk about the power of not being a bottom feeder. You see, the power of not being a bottom feeder. You don't want to be the one who's walking around on the ground. You don't want to be the one who believes what society tells you, that you cannot mount up to anything. There's a lot of people who are 18 years old, 19 years old, 25 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70, 80 years old, no matter what age they are, who are thriving in life. There's a lot of 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds who are very successful at what they do. There's a lot of them who are financially well off and all of that. And they do not become that way because they went about and did something that created money real quick. The majority of them did not become that way because of them doing something that made them more money at a quick stance. A lot of them, they became that quick because they learned the power of the ant. They learn that whenever they have to be able to budget, they have to be able to save, they have to be able to set back, and they have to be able to know what are seeds, and they have to allow those seeds to be watered, allow those seeds to germinate, and allow those seeds to grow. And that's how success comes about. Success comes about with the habits, the positive habits that we do every single day, and the compounding effect of those positive habits. That's what caused these people to become very wealthy or very successful. And not only successful in terms of monetarily, not only successful in terms of relationally, not only successful in terms of mentally, but they become successful in terms of spiritually as well. You see, the good book says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The fourth thing you want to do, you want to transform the way you think. You want to get rid of stinky thinking. And a lot of times we can't get rid of stinky thinking because we hang around everything that stinks. Every single person we listen to, the people we hang with, the people that we give our time to, think exactly in that stinky manner. A lot of them may think, well, this is what, if you do this, you make money quick. If you do this, you get there. But what they don't realize, that has nothing to do with the equations of success. That has nothing to do with thriving. A lot of times people will say, well, I'm born into poverty. I'm born into a poor society. I'm going to give you a newsflash today. Poverty is not because you're lacking money. Poverty is not because you're lacking the resources. Poverty is a mindset. It's a mindset. Just as the good book says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So the only way you could deal with poverty is that you have to deal with the way you think. You have to deal with the way you allocate and you utilize your resources. You have to deal with the way you think about yourself and the way you think about where you want to go. You see, if you think about life and you think about life as making money real quick or making a lot of money. What happens, you will make a lot of money, you will have a lot of fun, you will have a lot of great toys, but what happens, it won't be sustained because you're not thinking like an ant. You see, an ant works all through the summer, and as it works through the summer, it works and it gathers food so that when winter comes, it's ready. When winter comes, it doesn't have to come out and freeze to death to get food because it gathered food. And that's the same way. If you apply the same principle to your finances, if you apply the same principle to your understanding and your knowledge and your relationship, you will find that you will accumulate and it will grow. And as it grows, it's sustained. As it grows, it gets bigger. And as you develop and as you grow, it gets bigger and bigger. And as a result, you have a foundation that lasts. You have a foundation that goes on. You have a wealth and you have sustenance that goes on in life. If you go out and you develop your mind, what will happen no matter what? That's why a lot of times you'll see a billionaire or somebody like that will lose all what they have. And then months or years later, they're back where they were. You know, they're heading back in that direction because the fundamental fact is they have gotten rid of stinky thinking. They've conditioned their minds to think like a winner. They've conditioned their minds to think about wholesome things. They've conditioned their minds to think about the right things. And as they think about the right things come in their lives. A lot of times what people do, they struggle with things like depression. They struggle with things like being down all the time. Why? Because they, instead of developing their minds, instead of developing their human psyche, instead of developing who they are, they give into their passions. When you feed your passions cause you to go into a deeper sense of depression. When you feel your lustful passions or the passions of life, what happens, it destroys you, because what happens, you become weak psychologically. You will become weak mentally. Your thoughts are always dwelling on things that are not wholesome. Your thoughts are always dwelling on things that will not build you up. So you see, the power of not being a bottom feeder is that you have to learn to transform your mind. You have to learn to get rid of stinky thinking. You have to learn that poverty is a mindset and it's not a state of being. You see, when somebody looks at poverty as a state of being, you could hand them $10 million. But you see, if they don't have the right mindset, if they don't understand money, if they don't understand themselves, if they don't have the right outcome and know what to do and how to save it and how to set it aside and how to deal with it and how to treat it, know where to sow and how to grow it, then you could see after a short period of time, they will be worse off than where they were before. Because you see, it's not about the resources that you have. It's about transforming your mind. The transformation of your mind causes a skyrocketing effect to occur in every avenue of your life. You will start believing in yourself. You will start walking in wholeness. You will start walking in love. People will look at me a lot of times and they say, how is it you don't feel down? How is it you never feel depressed? Yes, I do feel down and I feel depressed sometimes, but you know how I deal with it? I never allow it to dwell in my mind. I sweep it out as quickly as you sweep a house and you clean it out, and I replace that with wholesome thoughts. I replace that with wholesome actions. I like sowing and I like giving into people's lives because, just as Zig Ziglar says, if you help as many people get what they want, you will always get what you want. And I understand the power of a seed. So therefore, I sow into other people's lives. You could look at my video, The Power of a Seed, to get some more on the power of a seed. You could also look at the video about the power of being like an ant, and you'll learn how to be like an ant. You see, as you go out there, you want to always remember that as you grow others, you are growing yourself. And as you grow, your roots are going down into the soil. And as those roots go down into the soil, those roots are becoming strong. Those roots are able to hold you up. And as those roots are able to hold you up, you're able to move forward in life. You always have to be willing to do today what others will not, so you can do tomorrow what others cannot. You see, people will beat you down. People will batter you down. People will say all manner of evil they could say about you. But you don't listen to them because what? You're busy working on growing you. You're busy working on developing your mind. When you have the right foundations, no matter what, you realize that you have to move forward in love. You have to move forward in forgiveness. You have to move forward in grace. Too many times we look at the circumstances in life and we mourn and we wallow because we look at it from the wrong perspective. We look at it from instant gratification instead of looking at it as us growing, us doing positive things every day that will bring about a compounding effect, that will bring about our destinies, that will bring our dreams to reality. You know, we have to know what we have front and center in our minds. We have to know on the basis of everything what we're going to do. You always hear me say, no matter what, I always treat people with love. I always treat people with respect. I always treat people with honesty, and I always treat people with grace. It doesn't matter what they do to me, because you see, as you stand on those bedrocks, as you stand on that, that's what produces the results in your life. That's what produces wholesomeness in your life. And that's what allows you to realize you do not have to crawl on the bottom of the ocean. There's lots of resources above. You do not have to crawl down there and think that this is what society says I will be. You could rise above the masses and you could be all that you can be. And you could rise up and you could be successful. You could rise up and you could have mental fortitude. You could have the mental prowess. You could have all what you need. I was talking to a very good friend earlier today, an older gentleman, and he is Spanish, and he's spoken Spanish all of his life. But I was asking him, I said, I've learned Spanish, and I've learned it. And at one point, I could speak it. But over the years, I have not practiced it. And it's like a daunting task trying to bring it all back. And he said the same thing. He said, I've spoken it, I talked it all the time, but every now and again, I have to think before I respond, because I find that I'm losing it because you don't use it all the time. So you see, I'm backed up on the opportunity in order to polish that up. So I'm going to be learning it and refining it and realizing if I snooze, I'm going to lose it. So I'm going to use it even more than I've used it before. So I wanted to encourage you with that, to go out there and learn the power of not being a bottom feeder. Learn the power of not being a bottom feeder, and learn to rise up and learn to grow yourself and learn to be all that you can be. Learn to go out there and know that instant success is not how it is. You have to learn how to grow. It doesn't matter if you think that you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a year, and then all of a sudden your life is going to change. That's a lie. Your life changes by you transforming your mind, by you transforming the way you think, and by you transforming your actions. And as your actions and your mind and everything comes into wholeness, as your actions and your mind and everything lines up with a good book, as what you think in your heart become wholesome, as what you do become wholesome, then you start applying the principles of the ant, and you start surviving in life. So go out there and have an awesome growth day. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button below. Hit the subscribe button below. When you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to select the bell, because by selecting the bell, it gives you the wonderful opportunity to be notified whenever I add another video. God bless you.